But first, there's this House China Select Committee Chairman John Moolenaar urging the Commerce Department to adopt a rolling technical threshold approach to AI chip exports to China in order to keep China dependent on AI from America. Joining me now is Michigan Congressman and House China Select Committee Chairman John Moolenaar. Mr. Chairman, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Good to be with you.
What do you want to see? I mean, look, we just had a long conversation with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and he walked us through some of the ways that this administration is monetizing the U.S.'s balance sheet. One of them includes getting 15% of revenue from the sales of chips to China by NVIDIA and AMD. Your reaction to that, and what do you want to see with regard to AI and China?
Well, I want to see America continue to lead in AI. We are vastly ahead of our competitors, and we want to continue to that. Unfortunately, China and the CCP steal technology, they leverage technology, and they would like to dominate this area because there are advantages both in economic sense as well as a military sense. And so we need to stay ahead. So what I've proposed is a rolling technical threshold that says, let's let China continue to be dependent on our chips, our technologies, and let them improve marginally. But at the same time, let's not let them have access to our best technologies, which they will use for military purposes, threatening us and threatening our allies.
I mean, it sounds really difficult to get your head around the fact that we're now in deep discussions about a trade deal with our adversary, our number one adversary here, who actually is trying to beat us on the very growth story that is going to be leading business for the coming decade plus. Is there any other economic levers that you want to see the administration pull in order to keep China in a box and ensure that the theft of intellectual property stops and the growth of their AI business stops?
Well, first, let me just say the president has wisely used tariffs in this area. First, in the area of fentanyl, the poisoning of Americans, he's put a tariff on China because of their fentanyl production. Secondly, we ought to be looking at areas where they are trying to dominate, chase out other businesses in the United States through unfair trade practices, and we ought to make sure that those are addressed through tariffs as well. The president talked about critical minerals recently and threatened a higher tariff on that. I think we ought to look at some of these key technologies where they will try and dominate, drive our businesses out of business, and make sure that we compete on a level playing field and stop their nefarious trade practices.
Yeah, I mean, and does one of those ideas include removing Chinese companies from global exchanges? You know, there's a story this morning which I find really, I'm struck by, and that is what's going on in Norway. And we talk all about removing Chinese stocks from global exchanges because China is a bad actor and these companies are tied to the Chinese military. But look what's going on in Norway. 23 Israeli companies have been sold, divested from the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. That's Norway's sovereign wealth fund. These investments taking center stage now in Norway's election, which is only a couple of weeks away. So I want to get your take on this. You see the Norway sovereign wealth fund caving to activists over Gaza, removing Israeli companies from the sovereign wealth fund, and yet we haven't heard a peep out of them about the Chinese stocks.
Well, this is clearly a double standard. When you look at what Norway is doing, investing in Chinese companies that are affiliated with the Chinese military on American blacklists, they have a double standard here. It's very similar to when you see in Europe the concern about Russia and at the same time buying Russian energy when you realize that they differentiate between China and Russia. But they don't recognize that China is enabling Russia to prosecute this war against Ukraine. So these kinds of double standards are not helpful. There should be clear guidelines, and China is, the biggest abuser in terms of human rights, in terms of intellectual property theft. and we need to make sure they'll held to the same standards that others are.
Yeah, I mean, look, so far, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was just with me, and he told me that the idea to remove Chinese stocks from U.S. exchanges is so far not a bargaining chip that they have threatened with China through this trade deal, but they are talking about that $300 billion in Russian assets that are sitting in European banks right now as something, as a chip for Russia. So you would think that money is coming up and is a factor, but China has been supporting Russia as well, as you just said. So what can we do in the U.S. to stop Russia and stop China from supporting Russia?
Well, I think we first have to acknowledge that American taxpayer dollars, American investor dollars are being invested in Chinese entities that partner with their military. And those military capabilities could be used against our men and women. They also sell to countries like Iran and Russia and allow them to continue their activities around the world. And so I believe it is a negotiating chip that the president should consider as he negotiates.
Yeah.
And we have tremendous leverage. And we ought to make sure that the Chinese understand that these activities are not acceptable. And we want a level playing field, and I'm confident the president can get that done in different trade negotiations.
Well, Mr. Chairman, you've done your part. I mean, you called on J.P. Morgan and Bank of America to withdraw from the IPO with the Chinese military-linked company Cattle. They did not withdraw. They went ahead, took the company public. The stock did very, very well in the Hong Kong exchange. Your reaction to where that stands today?
Well, we continue to expect more information. They are communicating with us. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the American people to say, we don't want our investor dollars partnering with a foremost adversary when it comes to their military and surveillance state. And CEO of J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, other leaders who are making money on this need to understand that's not what the American people expect with their retirement dollars, their investor dollars.
Yeah, that's true, but you're going to have to appeal to the big money managers to ensure that their investors understand that, right? Have you done that? Have you spoken with the vanguards of the world to get a check on whether or not they're communicating that to investors?
Well, I would say at this point, those communications are not happening. We've done different roundtables with the financial services industry, and we continue to communicate this message. But every day we see additional information and have greater insights into what's happening, and we're going to continue to make that information available to the public as well as the fund managers.
Mr. Chairman, there's a new investigation accusing the CCP of meddling in American elections. The New York Times writes that organizations have quietly foiled the careers of politicians who oppose China's authoritarian government while backing those who support policies of the country's ruling Communist Party. The groups, many of them tax-exempt nonprofits, they've allowed America's most formidable adversary to influence elections in the country's largest city, Mr. Chairman. So your reaction to China trying to meddle in U.S. elections, local or not, Mr. Chairman, and they want to ensure that the people who support China policies are moving up and getting elected?
Well, clearly we've seen that in New York City, where they've had the secret police stations, where they've influenced policy makers to change their messaging when it comes to Taiwan. They threaten countries around the world if they don't discontinue relationships with Taiwan. They will have consequences. They are doing this in our election. They will emphasize candidates and people who support their agenda. The CCP is very clear. These United Front organizations have a cultural aspect, but they also have a policy aspect that advances the interests of the Chinese Communist Party. Well,
by the way, they're very good at it, and they could do that through TikTok and through just propaganda coming from Communist China, right?
You're absolutely right. And TikTok is probably their best avenue to gain information as well as promote the CCP's ideology around the world, especially with the generation that is getting their news from TikTok, which is a Chinese controlled apparatus that, we would never allow our news stations to be dominated by a foreign adversary. But now TikTok is able to do that around the world.
Well, you've been able to learn so much about this at the China Select Committee, and the infiltration never stops. It's amazing to me. A Chinese doctor may face federal charges today after he was busted at a Texas airport for allegedly attempting to smuggle U.S.-funded cancer research back to his home country. The Harris County District Attorney's Office revealing that Yun-Hai Lee was nabbed after Border Patrol discovered the sensitive confidential medical records on his laptop during an inspection ahead of his flight to China. We dig more into surveillance from China on the United States in my latest Fox Nation special. The Underwriting the Enemy special is on Fox Nation, and I recently did The Enemy Above, which is the latest installment. We're talking about how China is trying to beat the U.S. in space. Mr. Chairman, what do you want to say is the most troubling aspect of all of this from your standpoint? Because you've seen a lot of information in your seat, and I'd love to get your take on what you think is the biggest threat of all from Communist China.
Well, I think clearly, as you point out, space is the ultimate high ground when it comes to a military strategy, and China is exploiting that to a tremendous degree, and we need to compete with them in space, both on the commercial front as well as making sure we keep it safe and look out for our national security interests. When it comes to the researchers and people stealing intellectual property, we have to realize that the CCP does not respect private property rights, does not expect human rights. They have a different view of the value of human life.
Yeah.
And we just have to recognize that and prepare for it in every sphere.
Yeah, and we got to prepare for it, certainly on the military level. Sir, before you go, I want to get your take on this Davidson window. I was told that General Davidson long ago put out this so-called Davidson window as far as when he expects China to go into Taiwan. And the Davidson window suggests that China goes into Taiwan at or before January 2027. What are your expectations?
Well, that's going to be a decision Xi Jinping has to make, and our hope is that we do everything we can to empower Taiwan through the porcupine strategy that makes it so unattractive for Xi Jinping to invade. He has told his military to be ready by 2027, and they are on in every way preparing for that. You see their rehearsals, their exercises in the South China Sea. They are preparing for that. When he actually pulls the trigger is ultimately going to be his decision.
Right, sure.
And so we can't control that. All we can do is prepare Taiwan and prepare our allies for and try and prevent this from happening.
Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. We'll be watching your work, important work. We know it. Thank you, sir.